Welcome back from top of the wall. Hope you're ready to get spiky again. Alright, this time no Tumblr energy or black Tumblr or whitelist energy. Instead we have Grixis energy because it's not a real deck unless you're playing Grixis. It's not actually a real deck. It's just a hunk of cards that you put together and it's really just bad. It's kind of embarrassing. So we're doing spiky stuff again this week. Oh god, yes, it's good. There weren't enough payoffs in green for like having like all this stuff. Like a Tomb of Aether was like the best card in the entire deck that was a payoff for energy, but like that's it. And there wasn't like enough of anything in green that was good enough. So I just scrapped it all. I found another card that made it a little bit better, that made it a lot better, and actually this deck is built around and it synergizes with really, really well. So, Grixis energy. We're built on playing a lot of different creatures, keeping our creature count at just enough to maintain ourselves, and we're actually built around a few cards that care about creatures and give us the ability to sacrifice creatures. Oh, it's Grixis-y all around. Lots of card advantage, cantrips, removal, of course, and sacrificing creatures. Oh, it's great. It is. This deck is called Grixis Energy or Demonic Energy for a reason because of our auras in the deck. 4 Demonic Appetite and 3 Betrothed of Fires. Demonic Appetite is the more important one in my eyes, that's why it's the 4 of. It gives us the go big strategy, while the Betrothed of Fire also gives us that option, but I feel wasn't quite as useful as the much more lasting effect of the Demonic Appetite. Betrothed of Fire gives us the Swarm option, where if we're not finding Demonic Appetite, or potentially there may be creatures in the way, or there may be a creature in the way and Demonic Appetite creature couldn't get through, what we can end up choosing to do is spreading ourselves out wider and thinner and then giving all of our creatures a boost, or just try to get in once and one-shot them, similar to like an ATOG. So the creatures in the deck, we're running 13 of them, but a lot of them are 2 bodies in 1 card because of the nature of some of these Aether creatures. We're playing 4 Aether Chasers, and we are playing 2 Aether Poisoners, 4 Aether Swoopers, and 3 Aether Theorists. The 4 of Aether Chasers. First strike, 2/1, and his battlefield get 2 energy, and when it attacks, you can make a creature. And same thing with Aether Poisoner, but it's the black one that has Death Touch, while the blue one actually has flying. Now, Aether Theorist is the odd one out, but it gives us more energy than the others, and the Scry can really come in handy if we're on a stalled board state. It's also a great blocker, so if we play an Aether Theorist for the blocking, and maybe an Aether Theorist with a Demonic Appetite on it to continue swinging in, we can end up having a good blocking and attacking scenario together, potentially get a Scry in off of that energy. Oh, Aether Theorist also comes in with actually 3 energy, so it can actually help us out with creating more tokens, or we can take the energy from the other creatures and put it more into Scry, depending on the kind of game that we want to play. And what happens when these creatures attack and we pay that energy to make the token for the next turn's upkeep sacrifice, or to sacrifice it to Betrothed of Fire, so that way we can end up going wide with Betrothed of Fire, or sacrifice it to the enchanted creature for Betrothed of Fire's effect. So for the cantrips that we have in this deck, we have 4 of Gitaxian Probe, 4 of Latname's Legacy, and 2 Brainstorms, because we don't have that many shuffle effects in the deck, and I didn't really want to be too reliant on Brainstorms as a full play set, but I still like the power of Brainstorm, and would like to keep it in there whenever I can. I mean, that's what I get for playing Legacy and liking Legacy a little bit too much. Latname's Legacy is actually a very interesting card. It's not quite as powerful as Brainstorm, it's a little bit more expensive, but it does give us a very similar ability, a very similar effect. So if we do end up getting some lightning bolts that aren't effective on our opponent's creatures, and we're a good distance away from actually hitting them in the face, and we just need to remain on defense and hold back maybe some of the cards in our hand, like maybe hold up Counterspell. We can shuffle the lightning bolt and hopefully draw into one. We can change up the cards in our hand if we have too many lands, like Brainstorm, but a little bit weaker, not as powerful. Can't go off as quickly with it. But even though we don't see as many cards, it shuffles in itself. It shuffles the cards that the card that you don't want into the library and draws you 2 more at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So on your opponent's upkeep, the turn after. For actual card advantage, we have 1 Tendrils of Agony, 1 black, sacrifice a creature, an opponent discards 2 cards. It's a one-time activation. These older cards were printed a little odd, but it is only a one-time chance. It's an additional cost, so if you don't sacrifice, you only can sacrifice 1 creature to make them discard 2 cards. Too bad you can't, sacrifice 3 creatures on your board, 1 black mana, discard 3 cards. Too much. But we do have 2 Live Fast, which if you played an Aether Standard, this card was actually very interesting. It is like a Divination, but in black. You lose 2 life, you draw 2 cards, but you get 2 energy. That 2 energy can translate to 2 Scries with Aether Theorist, or it can translate to a 1/1 creature, which is a sacrifice effect, that we can use to pay for that sacrifice effect. Moving on to our removal, we have a playset of Lightning Bolt, and we have 2 Die Youngs and 4 Counterspells. Counterspells classic, Lightning Bolt's classic. Now the Die Young part, we don't have to spend all the energy that we get from it. We get more energy, so we could potentially get another token or more scries out of it. But it does equal another use for our energy, making all the energy in the deck slightly better because we have this option available to us. The energy is as good as all of the options that you could potentially spend that energy on. And on to the mana base now. The mana base is 4 Grixis Panoramas, so that way we can get the shuffle effect for the Brainstorm and whatever. And we also have the 3 islands, 1 mountain, 1 swamp, so that way Grixis Panorama can get all of that for us, or well actually 1 at a time for us. A little bit slower than Ash Barrens, but it does give us that shuffle effect. We can use the mana immediately if we'd like, and we can still thin our deck later if we would like. We also have 8 tap lands, 3 Swiftwater Cliffs, 3 Dismal Backwaters, and 2 Bloodfell Caves. I almost forgot that one, but 2 Bloodfell Caves. Okay, our sideboard is 1 Tendrils of Agony to help fight against control decks, decks that have a need for card advantage or to hold back cards in their hand. We can put a lot of pressure on them with this. That's why there's a second copy in the sideboard. We don't usually always want discard cards in our decks because some decks would like to throw out their hand as fast as possible. This doesn't always help. While we have 2 Bone Splinters in the deck. Bone Splinters is another way to sacrifice our creatures, but it destroys target creature for 1 black mana. And sacrificing a token, not a big deal. I don't mind. Not even a little. We have 2 Relic of Progenitors in our deck to help fight against graveyards. We always need that little bit of graveyard hate. We have 2 Molten Rains in the deck to help us fight against Tron, 2 Dispels to help us against any kind of instant-based removal or removal that we're expecting our opponents to try to use against us. We also have cards like 3 Duress to help us fight against combo decks, and 2 Gurmag Anglers for when we need larger creatures. Alright everybody, that's it for this deck tech. Hope you enjoyed it. Next week, Johnny's coming to hang out with us. You're not going to see me. He's going to be doing his own deck tech for his own deck. It's going to be kind of a fun, interesting little combo deck, I'm sure. And his face is going to brightly light up whenever I tell him, like, oh, you can make a combo and you can play it in this deck. He's just like, alright. Now that's it for everything. I hope you enjoy stomping your opponents again with another new deck coming in for that face touch.